Once upon a time, in a small village by the sea, there lived a man named Marcus. He was not a wealthy man, nor was he famous. He worked as a simple fisherman, rising before the sun each day to cast his nets into the waves. Life was hard, and there were days when the sea gave him nothing but empty nets and sore muscles. Yet, Marcus was known throughout the village as the happiest man anyone had ever met. People often wondered how he could smile so much when his life seemed so difficult. The secret, they would later learn, was not in what he had, but in how he saw the world. Marcus practiced gratitude like a Stoic. Every morning before he stepped onto his boat, Marcus would stand at the shore and close his eyes. He would take a deep breath and remind himself of three things. First, he was grateful for the air in his lungs, for another day to live. Second, he was grateful for the strength in his body, for the ability to work. And third, he was grateful for the sea itself, for its endless gifts, even when they seemed hidden. These were not just words to him. They were truths he held close, like anchors in a storm. One day, a young traveler named Lucius came to the village. He had heard stories of Marcus, and wanted to meet this man who seemed so content with so little. Lucius, unlike Marcus, came from a wealthy family. He had everything he could ever want: fine clothes, good food, servants who attended to his needs. Yet he was unhappy. He always wanted more, and when he got it, it never seemed enough. Lucius found Marcus on the beach, preparing his boat. He approached him and asked, "How is it that you are so happy? You have so little, and yet you smile as if you own the world." Marcus looked at him with kind eyes and said, "Come with me today. Let us fish together and I will show you." So Lucius joined him. The sea was rough that day, and the work was hard. Lucius, unused to such labor, quickly grew tired. His hands hurt from pulling the nets, and his back ached from the strain. When they finally pulled in their catch, it was small, just enough for Marcus to sell at the market for a modest meal. As they sat on the shore resting, Lucius shook his head. "This is what you do every day? And you are grateful for this?" Marcus smiled. "Yes, because today the sea could have given us nothing. The waves could have taken my boat. The wind could have turned against us. But here we are, alive, with food to eat. That is enough." Lucius frowned. "But what if you had more? Would you not be happier then?" Marcus looked out at the horizon. "More is not the answer. If I spend my days wishing for what I do not have, I will never see what I do have. The Stoics teach us that happiness is not in having everything, but in wanting nothing more than what is already before us." Lucius was quiet for a long time. He had never thought of it that way. His whole life, he had chased after things, believing they would make him happy. But the more he got, the more he wanted. It was a hunger that never ended. Marcus continued, "Gratitude is a practice. It is not something you feel only when life is easy. It is something you choose, even when life is hard. When you wake in the morning, do not think of what you lack. Think instead of what you have." The people around you. Lucius thought about his own life. He had never stopped to appreciate the simple things. He had never been grateful for the food on his table because he was too busy wanting finer dishes. He had never been grateful for his health because he was too busy worrying about small discomforts. He had never been grateful for his family because he was too focused on their flaws. That night, as Lucius lay in the small guest house where he was staying, he tried something new. Before he slept, he thought of three things he was grateful for. First, he was grateful for the meal Marcus had shared with him, simple as it was. Second, he was grateful for his body, which had carried him through the day, even though it was tired. And third, he was grateful for Marcus, who had shown him a different way to see the world. The next morning, Lucius felt different. It was as if a weight had been lifted. He joined Marcus again, And this time, when they pulled in the nets, he did not complain about the small catch. Instead, he smiled. "We have enough," he said. Marcus nodded. "Yes, and that is all we need." As the days passed, Lucius stayed in the village, learning from Marcus. He began to see the world through new eyes. When it rained, he was grateful for the water that fed the land. When the sun shone, he was grateful for its warmth. When he stumbled or failed, he was grateful for the chance to learn. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Lucius said, "I think I understand now. Gratitude is not about having everything. It is about seeing everything as enough." Marcus smiled. Yes, the Stoics knew this well. They taught that our power lies not in controlling the world around us, but in controlling how we see it. When we choose gratitude, we choose peace. When Lucius finally left the village to return home, he was a changed man. He no longer chased after wealth or possessions. Instead, he cultivated gratitude. Every morning, like Marcus, he would pause and name 3 things he was thankful for. And over time, he found that the less he focused on what he lacked, the more he saw the abundance already in his life. Years later, word reached Marcus that Lucius had become known in his own city as a man of wisdom and contentment. People asked him, as they had once asked Marcus, how he could be so at peace. And Lucius would tell them the same thing Marcus had told him. Gratitude is the key, not for what you hope to have, but for what you already do. And so the lesson spread from one person to another like ripples in the sea. Because the truth is simple but powerful. Happiness does not come from having more. It comes from seeing more. More beauty, more gifts, more reasons to be thankful. And that is something no one can ever take away from you. The Stoics knew this truth centuries ago, and it remains just as true today. Gratitude is not a reaction to good fortune. It is a way of living, a choice we make every day. When we practice it, we train our minds to see the good, even in the hard times. We learn to accept what we cannot change and to cherish what we have. And in doing so, we find a strength that cannot be broken, a quiet, unshakable joy that comes not from the world around us, but from within. So let us be like Marcus. Let us wake each morning and give thanks for the air, for the light, for the chance to live another day. Let us find gratitude in the small things, for they are the ones that truly matter. And let us remember, as the Stoics did, that the richest man is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. Because when we cultivate gratitude, we cultivate something far more valuable than gold. We cultivate inner peace. And that is a treasure no storm can wash away.